Hello, and welcome to the Crown Cup Season 3 Challenger Division. I am your shoutcaster, Vanya, here joined by Yaffa. Yaffa, are you excited?
Yeah, absolutely. I am excited as always. This is not my first time being here on Crown Cup, so I am looking forward to it because last season some of the games were amazing. So if you are here from the previous season and you're catching up again, you're in good luck because we are starting off the season strong with this match between YS Siege and MRG Garnet.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a best of 5. And I am honestly thrilled. It looks like we've got some amazing teams this tournament. We're currently in the Swiss stage. This is one of the first matches. And this is 22 teams total going to battle it out here over the next few weeks. And I'm just excited to see what happens, how these players perform, how these teams interact, and how the tournament rolls out overall, honestly. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, absolutely. I am certainly going to be thrilled. As you were saying, this is currently the switch stage of the bracket, so the group stage. So you're just in luck to be catching some of the very first matches to be played in this season. As you can see, that some teams have already successfully played and finished their matches. So it looks like a few teams there are already starting strong with a 3-point lead, with already getting some strong potential overall in that. So I am looking forward to see how well those 4 teams get on. And commiserations to the other teams. I know some of those teams, I think I've seen them before. Play Group, I believe I've seen them before. So it's going to be interesting to see how this continues. Of course, these 2 teams, they don't have anything on the board just yet. So I'm going to be interested to see how this is going to be going on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the point where we really get to see what the teams are doing, how they play, what level they're at, and we start to really learn what this tournament's going to look like going forward, and that's just so exciting to me. On a side note, I do have to just give a shout out to the team Katamine. It's one of the greatest names for an esports team I've ever seen, but I'm kind of excited for this competition as a whole. On YS Siege, we've got the DPS, Blizzard Star, and Panther, the tank, Reinhardt, or Overwhelm, who typically plays Reinhardt, Nat the Catboy, and Matt. And then for MRG Garnet, we have Avalanche, Bibby on DPS, Poke on tank, Beta Blue, and Crits on support. And I'm really excited to see how these teams do, what they're going to do in regards to the current meta. Are they going to go for that full-on Winston? Are they going to go for speed comps? Or are they going to try and do more off-meta picks? Are they trying to subvert what would normally be considered to be optimal in order to get an unexpected advantage on their opponents?
Yeah, I feel like Goats is almost keeps finding his way into the game in one way or another. At this kind of speed composition, sure, you're not seeing the same kind of heroes, but they are kind of playing it in such an aggressive, fast style that I feel like Goats DNA just really struggles to stay away and is always kind of somewhere just around the corner. The meta just hasn't quite found it just yet. But no, you're absolutely right. These 2 teams, it's going to be really interesting because it's one of the first matches. It's going to be a great little taster to see what's going to be up and coming for the remainder of this season. And of course, if you are here, then you are going to be catching all the action if you stay around, and you're going to be keeping all of the ups and downs of these teams as we go along throughout the season. A lot of teams to cover though in this particular season, huge number of teams. So I'm going to be interested to see. But you've already been picking out favorites already.
I mean, look, good branding's good branding. I am supposed to say bias, or not biased as a shoutcaster, but when a team is called Katamine and has a green cat thing as its logo, what can I say? That's just funny. I'm genuinely though, I am quite excited to see what happens here, and I want all the teams to lose equally. Just putting that out there. They all suck. They're all terrible. Even though I am significantly worse than the best player in this tournament.
My goodness.
I've come at this with a weird energy today.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone describe it quite like that before, but I certainly would like to see some interesting gameplay. I mean, I suppose if you're arguing about like looking at from they'll lose as bad as much as each other. You get to see some exciting moments when people make mistakes and kind of unorthodox outcomes happen, and you see flanking, flanking Lucios, DPS Lucios, Anna doing like ninja sleep darts or something. I don't know. I just part of me understands that, and I think that's really exciting. But I also want to see some incredibly intricate gameplay and see whether or not these players are going to be having what it takes to prove themselves in this tournament. Can they? Are they as skilled as all the other players around them? Can the team work together? Are they going to be improving throughout the season? Are we going to see comebacks? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. A team's only as strong as its weakest link, and most people think that's a player. It's almost always in organized play, not a player. It's communication,
Mm.
it's teamwork, it's organization, it's finding people who can play specific characters to build specific comps, and then run a completely different comp when their opponents just hard counter them. And if you get mirrored, you get mirrored. You just have to play better. That's it. There's no like meta knowledge you can start imposing. You just have to get play a bit better than they are. You have to organize yourselves a bit better. If you can start rotating ults better than they can, it's difficult for them to make momentum without losing several fights, charging up ultimates for combinations. And it's going to be really exciting to see how these teams play this, how they run it. If they're going to go for Tracer, because Tracer's been really good right now. But if you do, you know that the enemy team, if they aren't choosing Tracer, they're countering Tracer as much as they can. They're looking out for him in the backline. Like, you look at the meta supports right now. Anna, Lucio, Kiri, they don't suffer that much to Tracer. They're able to deal with her pretty well. And so, I mean, it's kind of what you were saying. Ghost never dies. It's the greatest of all time. Why would it ever? Why would you ever choose anything else? Honestly.
I know. I mean, I really do have to, double down on a lot of the things that you were saying there about, team composition, the communication. All of these elements are absolutely critical to teams functioning well in these kind of matchups. It's not just whether or not you can play a particular hero well or like in quotation marks carry because you got so many kills on Widow and made everyone really scared. No, it's about team composition. It's about playing together, especially at this kind of level where you have other teams who are playing together and are coordinated. You're just going to be losing out on them no matter what and how hard you try. But I'm going to be quickly moving on though onto the maps because the maps do play a little bit of a deciding factor on how you're going to be playing, what heroes you're going to be picking, what are you going to be banning, the compositions. And so, as you can see, we're going to be going with a little bit of a control map with Busan, Lijiang Tower, Nepal, and Oasis. So, again, all these maps tend to favor the current meta. So, I don't think we're going to be seeing anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited. I love Control. I think it's my favorite game mode. Not necessarily because of the game mode itself, but because the maps are so consistently good. Very few of them endorse poke and or sustain comps, and I personally don't think sustain is healthy as a meta. It's not interesting. It's not fun necessarily because it's just waiting for the enemy team to have used their cooldowns and then walking 5 steps and shooting and hoping you get a pick. Brawl and dive both feel a lot more meatier. You're a lot more in there. It's a lot quicker. It's harder to keep track of though. It's so much more complicated. It feels like you're constantly being overwhelmed. But what is Overwatch if not just a sensory overload of a game?
I mean, it pretty much is just essentially overload of the game. You've just got constant, like, flashing, really beautiful UI and special effects going on all the time, filling up your screen, your professional vision, and it kind of can clutter up the screen a little bit, I'll be honest. It does make casting a little bit difficult sometimes, in my opinion, but that's not all. I mean, you're just saying about how the compositions and things like that. Sustain not really being a great for this particular map, and I have to agree, Sustain is just not particularly fun. Honestly, I find a lot of opinions for me is that people just don't like sustain because they really enjoy the fast-paced, immediate I win, I lose of the more fast-paced kind of compositions and strategies and metas. I mean, you don't have to look very far into other games and see how their equivalents of sustain composition, sustain metas, just everybody loathes them so much because you're just kind of sitting around waiting for things to happen. It's the tactical decision to be making, but it's not going to be fun for the players or for the viewers.
No, I mean there are some exceptions. It's interesting when on Circuit Royale a team plays Life Weaver because it's like that's silly, that shouldn't work, and it does sometimes. We've seen it recently in the Overwatch League, I believe, but I mean I see in the chat a lot of people trying to endorse our teams here, hyping them up. Some of it I think is the players, but it's welcome nonetheless. I'm excited, and I'm glad that the chat is passionate about this match.
Yeah, I mean, I am going to be absolutely encouraging them to continue supporting their team. And, I feel like that might be the extra little motivation and support that these teams need to bring out the victory. I mean, I think fan support can be surprisingly big. But we got a little bit of an interesting situation so far with the map Oasis. And why is
Ooh,
Siege going to ban Juno already? Juno is one of the more powerful heroes, the newest one, in fact, to be added. Well, sorry, Venture was, of course,
yes.
added more recently, but the newest support hero to have been added. And Juno was honestly incredibly overpowered when she first got added. So it makes no surprise, but now you're opening Juno up for the remaining maps, and I don't know, maybe some of those maps are possibly stronger in Juno.
Yeah. Juno's really good. It's really interesting watching Juno comes. Oh, and instantly the ban on Juno and Farah. Really interesting choice. Raya Siege clearly not wanting to play into her, which is completely understandable. She's really good at coordinating a team because she doesn't need to be near them to speed them up like Lucio does, and it gives you so much more variety in how you play. A diver can just go grab that speed boost and go off. They don't need to stay with their team. It works better than Lucio does for like Brawl or something. And I mean, the ban on Farah makes sense. She's been a bit oppressive recently. She's got really strong mobility, decent damage, and she can just be a real pest if you don't have a really solid hit scan. And even Cass, who's pretty good at dealing with her, has a high enough damage fall off that he's not optimal. And he's the poke, he's the off DPS that's really meta right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Farah has definitely been quite a strong hero to be picking right now. I mean, Farah has kind of had a little bit of a unique history where Farah has sort of got this reputation of being a bit of a noob stomper in the lower ranks and has seen various plays and has always often required another player to pick that mercy to go with them because otherwise the Farahs kind of tended to struggle all by themselves. But of course, Overwatch 2 is a completely unique game with absolutely no overlap with the previous war game in the series, and so that has changed just a little bit where Farah is now can be a little bit more independent. They've got their rework, they've got those boosts, those different abilities that allow them just to be a little bit more nimble and they can sort of dive
Yeah,
other players.
sure. Yeah, it gives more variety in her playstyle,
It
and
does,
they had
yes,
to do it
absolutely.
because they tried to fix the imbalance in some characters being really strong in high ranks and really weak in low ranks. Um, and I mean, it's kind of worked. It's interesting. Farah's certainly a lot more fun to play than she originally was. She's able
Absolutely.
to threaten a lot of damage, and I mean, we're coming right into it now. About to start this first match. This is going to be a best of 5. And looking at the teams, we have Winston, Lucio, Kiri, Genji, Tracer versus a more sustain based comp of Baptiste, Symmetra, Lucio, Cassidy, and Orisa.
Yes, absolutely. As we see some high level menu gameplay. Never mind, we go back to the game, and it's going to be interesting. Like you were seeing with the Orisa and the Cassidy as well, both coming into force. I think these compositions are, not particularly unique or interesting in a particular way. Arista can have quite a strong sort of presence in the gameplay. And already with MRG Garnet getting the high ground already, which is a pretty typical rotating around already to try and start this first engagement for this point.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this, we've seen the swap to Venture with the Sim TP in. We're looking at the fight, or the team scrambling at the fight here up to the side of the room, but Blizzard Star managing to get a 3K there. I mean, YS Siege taking that first fight confidently and comfortably. Lucia getting the melee kill at the end of that fight, staggering just that little bit. Kiriko can teleport back to her team, so it's not the end of the world for MRG.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going and picking that support there, Kiriko, you have so much survivability with that teleport. So even if, you get dived and people try and come and kill you, you still have a get out of jail free card. Quite a few characters do have that as well in this game, and it makes them, preferable to a lot of the other characters. And so balancing around that can be quite difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, this is ideal right now for YS Siege. They've taken the point. They've got a comp with way more self-sustain, way more survivability. They can prolong fights as long as they want to, which is so advantageous when you're on the point. Look, they're already at almost 30%, 40%, and they've won this fight regardless of what happens next. It's just about Kiri trying to survive, and if she's able to, she is just about able to. As we come into the next fight, Bibi managing to get a deflector onto Panther there, as we see Avalanche pushing up with the rest of their team. The dive working very well, even with Alicia, which, to be fair, can work quite well. We're going to see Bibish try counter, managing to get the Orisa down with the Baptiste coming next. This is almost certainly a 1-5 for MRG here, as they just clean up, and YS just try to hold that little bit longer, get that little bit more percent. They're at 70 already.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge task there for MRG Garnet to reclaim that. I mean, now that they've captured the point, I think they are going to be putting themselves in a bit of a better situation, because they do have some characters that are probably, in my opinion, going to be a little bit better at retaining that capture. They have some ultimates online as well, and that might be able to turn them around. But I feel like Siege, though, with powerful ultimates, are just probably going to have a good chance of beating it. So we're going to come down to this Tracer ultimate.
Yeah, and I mean, instantly, 2 ults coming out, the Blade and the Orisa ult with the... I forgot her name now, Adventure ult to follow up, managing to get 4 kills. Yeah, that's honestly a really fast fight for YS Siege there. Really ideal. And, I mean, MRG Garnet did use 2. They didn't ultimately lose out that much on ult economy there, YS Siege. And they've actually retaken now. They're at 90%, and we're coming into what could be the last fight of this round, with the Tracer trying to find a backline, trying to find a pick with that pulse bomb, probably managing to get a kill on Beta Blue as Blizzard on Venture. That beat coming out, trying to contest in that fight, and MRG seem to have managed to have taken it back.
Yeah, but only just. They did have to commit the beat there as well, and the pulse bomb, but they were just enough to get into that. YS Siege committing their own ultimate, but they still have window available to them. And I have to say, apparently I gotta take back what I said about the Tracer Pulse. Sure, they didn't use it in the first fight there, but that Genji Blade getting 2, followed by the incredible Orisa ult and the Venture ultimate, should absolutely sealed the deal. But they're going in dry now. They don't have any ultimates really available to them. Sure, they have the massive sustain from Winston and Window, but I'm not sure if these 2 ultimates are going to matter.
Oh, Window's offline already.
Exactly.
Bap's dead. Like, that's a really solid win condition for MRG this fight here. Venture just trying to pile on damage, sustain as much as they can with that Winston juggling, managing to get quite a few kills there, finding a lot of value as MRG Garnet holds the point. It would seem, even though Winston's dead, I mean, we're seeing the remnants of 2 teams here still fighting it out. This is so strange, but the retake from YS Siege as they get the back first, because that was the first death, that gives them an advantage here. The Window coming out, oh my gosh, the instant shred onto Kiriko, and the Venture just stealing Winston up into the air. This is so funny to watch. Brilliant play by both teams there.
Yeah, I mean, incredible job by MRG Garnet to be able to get up to that percentage. But unfortunately, that last team fight just did not go their way. I mean, I think the coordination and plan was absolutely there. You saw it, right? They just
Yeah.
dove onto that Baptiste, got the kill. That's the ultimate out of the way. They have no more, window. So it should just be a pretty secure fight. But I feel like maybe trying to go for that kill and being a little bit over aggressive cost them the fight overall, as you just end up with a couple of stragglers remaining and they let them take the points and they weren't able to keep that contest going, to keep the progress going in their favor for Garnet. And then you just see the eventual collapse as reinforcements come in, the point is champ, the onus is now on Garnet to retake the points. It just becomes a whole lot harder for them, unfortunately. But this is control points. So it's the first of many as they go on to the second round of control point. Already starting off strong on the high ground for MRG Garnet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to see the fights taking place on the high ground here, which makes so much sense. It's such a big advantage, especially for YSC with their longer range comp. They managed to get 2 kills off the bat. This is going to be a massive advantage. They're probably going to start steamrolling here. And yeah, they've already taken point. They've only got one person on there, and they're just pushing them back. They're almost at their spawn doors. What is this?
I mean, this Venture is doing an incredible job of just absolutely shutting down the team. They're doing so much damage, really poking away at the team. You see already that they've actually, MRG Garnet have made a bit of a switch in the composition since last time, switching away from that Tracer onto, well, now onto the Soldier, in fact, trying to change it around, because they seem to be going for a kind of engagements that maybe Soldier would prefer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, brilliant play. Oh, Bibby going down early on, followed by Beta Blue. I mean, those two died first last time. This dive with a Lucio and a Genji clearly isn't working. YSC clearly know how to counter it. And I mean, look at that comp. They've got 4 characters that can CC. It's honestly brilliant. Just shutting down any semblance of dive. And I think if MRG Garnet want a chance to win here, they're really going to have to switch to something more brawly, something more pokey maybe, because this dive's just not working. There's too much CC, too much sustain from YSC's side that they can just live through anything. And I mean, the Terror Surge followed by the Window of Opportunity, managing to find a lot of value as Blizzard Star just pushes up from the ground over the banner billboard. And Team White, what is this?
I mean, this is dominant from YSC. Like, they've just been on this front point, holding the choke all this time. They're already up to, last fight territory for MRG Garnet. They have some ultimates online, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They are able to get the kill, though, crucially onto the Venture. But is that going to be enough?
That's so toxic. They used the high noon just to stall that bit longer. They're already at 90% now. I think they've won every fight so far, managing to get... Wow, that was a good Genji play. Holy crap. They just... I think they enabled 3 kills there, certainly. The ability to do an instant 180-degree flick and block that cascade. So impressive. Such strong game sets. And MRG Garnet have 4 ults, almost 5 from that Winston as well. This is... Potentially we're going to see a reverse flip here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when they are getting these fights, they're probably mostly winning on the mechanical skill alone. Obviously, these teams, although have some excellent coordination, they have been working together to try and dive. As B comes out into what's trying to be keeping their dream alive for this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see the better beat there coming from YSC, I believe. And it's going to give them a big advantage. Nat the Catboy managing to get a kill onto Kiri as they push up. They've done it. They've won the fight.
Yeah, they've won the fight now into overtime. Couple of ultimates remaining. It's do or die now for this team.
And Genji managing to just about touch with the Winston as well. They die. That's it. That's the entire story. I wish I could say more, but YSC have won that first one. This is still a best of 5, so MRG Garnet have time to switch this around. They have plenty of time to switch this around. But
yeah, absolutely.
That was rough for MRG.
It was rough. I mean, you can't let it get to your head either. Like, yeah, you did just get, almost destroyed on that second round. It was an incredibly dominant display from YSC there. But for MRG Garnet, like, yeah, it's tough. It's difficult. You're in that situation, but you still got to maintain strength. You've got so many more matches to go. Maybe control point just didn't go your way. Maybe the strategies you had just didn't quite work out. Maybe the way that this Arisa was playing was too dominant, or taking up too much space, or just all number of man of different things. Maybe you're just stronger at some other one, but you cannot let that get to your head. In fact, if anything, it will be far better to recognize that you got to 76%, that you were able to capture the point, and consider those as little wins for you as you go on into the remaining maps. Because I know that I know you mentioned this at the very beginning about mental game, the team coordination, communication, all of that is crucial to getting this victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that was really interesting because you rightly pointed out they made some progress. They had some really good plays, and they had some really good leads at points in the game. They had strong advantages, and they were able to exploit them, but just not quite well enough. But if they can recognize that, if they can see that, they're able to. There's hope there. They can still win this, and if the players have any decent mental, they should know that. They should be able to figure out how to. And beyond that, I mean, it's just really interesting. We're gonna see Hollywood now on the hybrid map choice. I
Yeah,
mean,
Hollywood is it's an
it's
interesting map. It's one of the older maps in the game, of course. Kings Row as well, up there with how long it's been there, very popular Kings Row. But Hollywood, I mean, I guess Hollywood might be a little bit stronger depending on what you're trying to play in your play style. You've got some great high ground in the second point. The first point, you do have some chokes to get past though, and it seemed to be a little bit of a challenge for MRG Garnet in the previous map, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. But we do see a couple of bans, and I think the Venture. I'm
yeah,
a bit surprised because why is Siege with the team that were using Venture for their team, and they were doing incredibly well with that. Winston, again, I'm a little surprised because they were the ones who were using Winston last round,
yeah.
so it's a bit surprising for
It's,
me to see
oh,
those
and the
bans.
double hazard tracer comp. Oh my gosh, it's such an oppressive comp to have to face. I mean, both teams clearly going for dive, but quite different versions. They've got two characters set the same on each team, and we've seen MRG going for a more classic um, comp with the Brig and the Anna, and then YS Siege going for Kerry Lucio. Very strong. We see that quite a lot with Junker Queen. Um, More semblance of rule, but definitely works in dive pretty well.
Yeah, I think
And
I think Beta's pick here. I think she picked a really good character to be going with this Brigitte, especially if you were having problems with players getting shut down. It really allows you to try and keep the space available for your backliners in a way that you might not have been able to do before. And we see a couple of hazards as well. A new hero, a bit brawly and a bit jumpy.
yeah, absolutely. That hazard just goes so far, able to dominate so much space and
Oh,
cause so much chaos. Poke managing to get the kill on Naf. Early on, Panther getting a kill on Poke. And the attackers have a massive advantage here. They don't have the defense doesn't have a tank. They're just going to try and hold down the fort as long as they can. I mean, this is certainly a dive meta from both teams, dive comp from both teams here, which majorly favors attackers in the situation because they get to have shorter fights. And they've already done it. They've pushed back, they've killed the supports at the end of the fight. Of course, in a comp that MRG has, the supports are so difficult to kill. They're not the win condition. The win condition is the tank, it's the DPS.
absolutely. I mean, MRG Garnet here, when they've only got those three supports, they're trying to keep themselves alive as a little cell. That is the strategy you always want to be going for. But when you lose your tank, it's almost a certain death for you in that fight. You don't want to be losing your tank in those kind of situations. If you're not able to trade them out, you're going to be losing.
Yeah, absolutely. The hazard coming off early in conjunction with the Kiriko, managing to get 3 kills early on, 2 of them from Blizzard, the third, a 4th from Panther, and Overwhelm getting that 5th team kill. Said it with the game, but brilliant play, brilliant coordination. They pushed so far up. They controlled so much space. I didn't think it was going to work. I thought they were just going to have their backline be dove, but it did.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing, in a very divey way, sort of like almost like a hybrid between dive and goats, which makes sense, especially with Hazard and kind of the way that they've been playing it so far. Oh, Panther getting the pulse bomb already! Beautiful kill to start of the fight.
Stuck to them. I mean, that's 3 kills on the board already. And we've seen what Siege can do with a little bit of momentum. You give them an inch, they take a mile. And we're going to see the attempt to contest from Hazard here not going to work. He just goes above the point and gets spooked above it as well. Is that Lucio 1v1ing a Tracer? The Kimmy Chung again.
I feel like MRG Garnet are just a little bit
oh my god, it works!
Indication. Oh no. I love team boop kills. I love Lucio. One of my favorite characters. I am unfortunately a Tracer main. Seeing that happen is a little bit unfortunate. But MRG Garnet, though, they do have 2 ultimates, nearly 3 available to them. I hope that BB is going to be able to get a good pulse bomb. And this ultimate as well from Beta can certainly turn around the fight if used well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to see Poke here choosing to go Ramatra instead. Really interesting choice. And the Briggle coming on early in the fight. Of course, it makes a lot of sense. They've dove the supports up top, but Brig is so good at anti-dive. They're so strong that it doesn't matter. They've identified the wrong win condition in this fight. And Siege are really pushing up now. They're so threatening. Just seeing Hazard run at you. And, I mean, no one's on point, though. They kind of C9 there. Kind of not really. We are now going to see MRG Garnet manage to take the fight.
Yeah, but there is still somebody alive. They eventually get taken down, though. And in that fight, it went well for MRG Garnet. But my oh my, why is Siege such a massive time bank available to them? They can make a whole bunch of pushes and not succeed and still have, room to spare in their attempts to completely full capture this map.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see the early kill onto Tracer from Blizzard Star there with the Hazard ult coming online early on. Poke getting really low, trying to be melted down from the beam. The bomb getting 2 and Tracer with the 3rd. Oh my gosh. They have 3 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock and they've already done it. This is dominant.
My word. I hope there aren't too many MRG Garnet fans in chat. I'm not entirely sure you're going to be, too happy with this performance. Yeah. But, of course, I encourage you to not give up hope just yet. There is still games to be played. And MRG Garnet could still come out on top. I'll be honest, though. I feel like for Siege, they're doing such a good job with this aggression. They're going in, and MRG Garnet just aren't quite able to deal with all of these team members just rushing into them so quickly, playing this kind of meta speedy competition particularly well. And I think if they're able to counter that and deal with that, then they could be looking into a very strong position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really interesting watching a tournament or casting a tournament this early into its lifespan because you get to see which teams are good, which teams are... what teams run as their comps, as their metas, and how that's going to impact the tournament in future. We're now going to see the Freya choice from Siege. That makes a lot of sense. Freya's so good. She's got great mobility, both vertical and horizontal, and has a real threat of damage. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Siege can manipulate that properly. The Kiri Lucio is really interesting. It's a good comp. And this is definitely Brawl from Siege now, which is a complete deviation from what they were running before. But it can work so well.
I mean, I think they were already playing very brawly. They were kind of just rushing into the enemy as a 5-man and then just finding kills, and they were doing a great job of that. But this Freya is doing a great job of pressuring the enemy team here, as unfortunately one member already goes down. They're chasing down the tank of Poke, unfortunately, and he's going to go down eventually here to the ability, that wall, getting the kill there.
Yeah, and I mean, MRG Garnet really getting a bit lost there. They get pushed back down that corridor, potentially trying to go all the way around, but it's not necessarily a viable choice. because you have to go so far. It's so predictable what you're doing. And Wire Siege are just able to block any chance MRG have of diving that backline, diving onto the point. And the fight's taken completely elsewhere, which gives them an advantage in that there's less risk of it being taken. They can play differently. They've got more space to fall back from.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have a lot of opportunity on where they can go. They can fall back. They can push forward. Just like that, they're picking up kills yet again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this feels like bullying at this point. They do still have 2 minutes 30 seconds, so they could turn it around.
Oh, absolutely. They really could turn it around. And I think they might have to change up their strategy just a little bit. They've been going left here twice now, and I think they're just going to try something different. You know, you can't be keeping your head banging against the same wall. If you try and do the same thing and expect a different outcome, it's the definition of insanity, they say. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes down.
Off from Overwhelmed there. And the take of height from MRG with the hazard ult coming online. The Kiri Suzu missing. That's got to feel rough, man. But Poke already really low in the fight, clinging on by a hair as Hazard retakes the point, and the 4 kills coming out from Wire Siege with the 5th on Lucio. Oh my gosh. I mean, not to dig it that hard, but crits, if they had waited just that little bit longer to Suzu, they could have stopped so much of that. And it's tiny, minute details and plays like that that really tell a good team from a brilliant one.
Absolutely. Timing is incredibly important as they time this Kitsune rush against the team before they really have a chance to mount any real offensive past the choke. Pushing all the way in now, getting those juicy kills for Wire Siege. And now MRG Garnet only have a couple of minutes now, a minute even, and they're still sticking with the same composition so far. No changes. Sure, they might have 3 ultimates, but I'm not sure if they're going to get the opportunity to get much value out of them. I mean, if they do, I guess that will be a great little change of fate for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to see the Tracer come in here early, and they managed to start getting a headshot, but Panther knows what they're doing. They know where to look, and they just got him a bit. Crits managing to get a kill early on. This is going to be some forward momentum for MRG finally, but they've already used 2 ults, 3 ults. They managed to get a 2nd kill, a 3rd, a 4th, and they're going to start taking this. But it's still, 3v2 here? There's a chance that Wire Siege take this back before it's capped, and they certainly do. They've already killed Hazard and Avalanche there.
Yeah, reinforcements were coming in quickly for them. MRG Garnet only had a couple members around, and it's looking a little bit dire for them now. They've only got a few seconds remaining in this
Can't
overtime.
Even go through that corridor. It just gets walled off by Hazard. They're going to be going around as the Lucio. The Hazard onto them, but they get killed before it even goes online. The Kiri coming in with the ball following up, trying to get that power driving onto the enemies, and it's not going to be enough, man. Tracer trying to contest, but instantly gets killed as soon as they touch the objective. Wire Siege not taking any prisoners there, eating MRG like they're dingoes. Sorry, for context, that was we had a bit about Dingo Ate My Baby earlier before we started streaming.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chad did not get to see the wonders of our little, shall we say, impromptu casting of completely random information, yapping, and certainly a great little practice to be yapping. Sometimes we do have to do that, but not this time because, well, with Face, these games are just going from map to map to map so quickly. There's just barely any time to take a break between these. Indeed, there's barely even a time to take a break between the fights as well to give you a little bit of information as to what went on. I am looking forward to this next map here. Map 3 now between these 2 teams. I am interested to see how that is going to be going. I think they picked a Circuit Royale for that map. What do you think of this?
I personally hate Circuit Royale, and it's due to my hate of Sustain, honestly. I understand why a team would play it. It becomes more interesting more interesting in organized play than it does typically, because people know how to play it. They know
Right, right,
how
right.
to manipulate it in really interesting ways. It's why it's one of the few cases we've seen Lifeweaver be viable in organized play, because it sucks from a theoretical standpoint of you have to react, because playing first with a Lifeweaver comp is objectively bad. However, it means that fights take forever because the people attacking have to make the first move, and then you're so strong responding to that, uh, shutting down whatever play they make. They keep on having to wait for a cooldown resets, and it gives Lifeweaver comps on defense on that map so much of an advantage. But it's not that interesting as a map as a whole. I think I've
Yeah, I think the map probably stands out more for its ability to allow DPS players to express their mechanical prowess, particularly for like Widowmakers
yeah,
who love to
yeah.
find ridiculous, cheeky angles and get headshots like, they're just counting numbers. It's like ridiculous, like a second nature. I mean, seeing those kind of crazy, crazy shots really does absolutely hype me up. I
Mhm.
think when it was a bit more brawly, it tended to be a little bit more interesting as well as teams sort of had to rush together to fight each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm really excited to see what these teams do here, because both have been playing dive comps, and you can play dive on. Uh, Sorry, I had a brain fart. Forgot what it was called. Circuit Royale, but it's not as good. It's not as reliable as something like Sustain is. But in this current meta, Sustain's not even the strongest comp you can be running. You can make it work, but you kind of always need a support who's going to be closer range, going to have that stronger focus. And we're seeing the bans here now. Freya from MRG Garnet making so much sense. That was really dominant last game. And Wire Siege banning Lucio, really interesting. They managed to run it really well last game, but it makes sense if you're thinking about what their opponents have ran. That was the character that they were able to get value out of, because they were able to speed in that Genji, and several times MRG were winning fights just because Genji Lucio dove their backline really fast before Siege could respond. It wasn't often, but it was one of the few times MRG got momentum and really managed to gain an advantage in the fight in the game.
Yeah, I do wonder actually, throwing this out, I wonder if maybe a bastion might work well. So instead of trying to speed yourself into the players, you just melt down the tank, and then that leaves the players with very little ability to, maneuver around with the tank, kind of leaving them a little bit more vulnerable and open. Particularly
I
because a lot
mean,
of these characters are also mobile as well. Like, I mean, are you really going to be seeing much value? I don't know.
yeah. We're going to see Avalanche on the Widowmaker here. Really interesting choice with uh, Wire Siege on attack, going for the more pokey based comp. With, I mean, they're using Lifeweaver. That's
Oh!
really interesting. That early snipe.
DPS
Oh my
mechanics!
gosh, that was nasty from Avalanche there. Woo! And the immortality field being popped early on, that is a long cooldown to wait for. Blizzardstar not really wanting to peek properly for a fear of getting sniped by that Widowmaker. Trying to get that reflect onto that backline, and diving that Anna, misses a couple shots, instantly retreats. This is a player that knows how and when to commit properly. Blizzardstar managing to get a kill onto that backline on that brick. And I mean,
Yeah, I
MRG
mean, I
already
think
having so much momentum.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, MRG Garnet having so much momentum, it's not something that you would necessarily might have expected looking at some of the previous maps that have gone round. But even though this Widowmaker is getting those picks, which is crucial when you've got a Widowmaker, that's how precisely how you
Yeah,
play. I mean, you
yeah,
see already they're having to back up now.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just
I mean, Widowmaker's a character with not much like mechanical influence, right? She can't CC, she can't give allies health or anything. She can't block damage. Her value solely comes from, can you get those hits? Can you get those headshots? Can you melt through your opponents? And I mean, so far, they've been able to do it. They've been able to get early picks on in a fight. Avalanche getting one onto Naf. That's big, getting a support that early. Especially when that's the saving grace for YSC here. That's why they can push up so much, because they have that pullback. They have that retreat choice at every point in the game. A second of invulnerability is no joke.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just being able to get those few little details are going to matter. I'm surprised that it matters quite so much, but then again, this is Challenger Division for these teams, so you won't be too surprised
on the
to see so
Widowmaker.
much.
And we're going to see the gravitational flux with the Nano not finding any kills as Poke finds one himself. Jeez, that's gotta be rough, man. And the Genji managing to finally fool, but not before half of MRG does. And but YSC are managing to hold here.
Sorry, the pace though is like already like slowed down massively. I mean, you saw that Sigma going around, clearly using their ultimate with the intent to change over to this Ramattra, but they were just kind of all by themselves. There was no real momentum or speed, I just feel it was like lacking a little bit of intent. And so the team was just a little bit scrambled, and they're just playing it slowly, trying to see what would happen, and nothing really played out for them.
And I mean, this is why I think this is why Lucio or Juno would be so useful here, because it allows the team to push up. And genuinely, I'm a big advocate for Lifeweaver on this map, but I don't think he works on defense. I think because you have to... I mean, absolutely, that was a brilliant play from Blizzard Scout there. Holy goodness. That was brilliant. And YSC have finally managed to find the momentum they were looking for. But I think Lifeweaver on attack on this map doesn't work nearly as well as they do on defense. Because Lifeweaver has to play second. You have to play in reaction to your opponent's move, and in attack you just stand on the point to do that. In defense you just stand on the point to do that. In attack you have to move to the point, have them play, and then you get to play. And it's so many extra steps, but the insane bring up with Bibesh just dashing through their opponents, managing to retake the point, I believe. Yeah, absolutely, they rolled there.
Yeah, I mean, MRG Garnet, apparently the teams were the other way around, which makes a bit more sense now. MRG Garnet on defense here, so apologize for describing a little bit differently. They're doing pretty well so far on defense, but they are unfortunately on the second point, as a team fight is already breaking out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, MRG have a big advantage here. They have the high ground. YSC are pushing them. And I mean, we're going to see the Lifeweaver pull there. But at that point, you've lost the fight anyway. It's just saving that little bit of value, saving that little bit of time. YSC swapping to Venture for Blizzard. Really interesting choice. There's a lot of CC potential with Venture, which is really strong for anti-dive, as Poke seems to be doing so often, especially with that Nano last fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That Nano last fight really helped them to keep that sustain and keep them alive and go in and find those kills that they needed. But unfortunately, YSC are going to be coming in with their own ultimates on this next fight, getting a kill already onto this Widowmaker.
I mean, MRG, they just gave space. They just walked away as they saw Ramattra punching up, quite literally. And, I mean, the Ravenous the ultimate there, really doing wonders. And the fighting in a small room, so advantageous for YSC with the attack comp. They have 2 minutes 20 now left on the clock to get all the way to the end of last point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of time to be making this final push here, as BB is able to find a kill onto the support of YSC. I mean, it's not much, but it is going to at least give them a little bit more advantage. The spawn, though, is quite close to where they currently are. I don't think it's going to matter all that much, but they're still playing around, poking, as the Widowmaker is going to be using their ultimate here to try and turn the tides in the upcoming fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to see here YSC pushing up quite far already, managing to get past the first chokehold, really, but Bibesh trying to find an off angle, and Avalanche as well, but going to be contested by Venture. Venture definitely is stronger than a Genji in that matchup, but it's still anyone's game, really. They can both get away, they both have enough maneuverability, and YSC having that cast go round with the Lifeweaver pocket that's really threatening, especially if they can get that high ground. If they can get off a good ult, it's potentially really strong at denying so much space for their opponents. Bibesh just trying to live as long as they can, finding some value. But the fight's been taken on the surface, and YSC have managed to push up so far. The ult from Bibesh with the blade going off, managing to get one kill. The high noon coming out as well, going to manage to find a kill onto Poke. Poke first getting a kill onto Lifeweaver, but that is going to be a push all the way for YSC as they cap with 49 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, incredible there. White Siege just had so many ultimates available to them to be used at just any opportunity that they could. And they only had to use it all at once. They managed to just eke out so much distance over time onto that last point, and eventually they just had a few minutes to go, so just press Q and win, and that's exactly what they did, bringing us to a 3-0 for this series with a very dominant showing from Wires Siege and MRG Garrett there. I mean, I think they have a few notes to come back and maybe review, but honestly, I think they could be good contenders for the championship overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that last point, the way YSC played, that was really smart because they saw MRG were set up on top. They were set up on the high ground, and they just mirrored it. They just copied what their opponents were doing. Because if you fight on that high ground and you're able to do a split push properly, you have people pushing on the low ground, and they basically get free distance because you can't. Because with a CC enough heavy enough comp, you can't go off down to the objective because Venture's just there, able to drill dash you back onto that high ground, back into where they want the fight to be. YSC are playing their game, they're playing their speed, they're playing on their terms. And interesting choice to go Lifeweaver on attack, on defense now as well. That makes a lot more sense, I believe. But the Sombra rework every 5 minutes for YSC here on defense now.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to have a little bit of kind of positioning going on, trying to see who is what and where is where, as they kind of have a little bit of a go. YC losing one of their players already, as MRG Garnet here on attack, trying to get this aggressive place. And they are able to gain some ground already with the high ground here and just around the corner. But it's going to be giving YSC, as they back up, giving themselves plenty of time to regroup and re-coordinate to find a push. I mean, you see MRG Garnet already predicting this already. Sombra out ahead, scouting, trying to pick up a kill on the back line, but immediately it dips as soon as they are noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. The Trace of the Sombra matchup here. Avalanche trying to find a hit, but can't quite through that shield. Manages to find a little bit of value, a little bit of summer, but the dive from the trade from those two as Avalanche got dove by Blizzard and Tracer managing to defend them just about. MRG really being pushed back here by YSC on the defense here. They've managed to get quite far with an initial push, and after Catboy, a Lifeweaver getting a kill is brilliant. Honestly, I love it. Beta Blue going for Juno here, really interesting. I quite like it. It gives you a load of speed, it gives you a load of momentum into a fight, and the dive from MRG Garnet trying to find an opportunity here.
Yeah, I think the Juno pick is going to be helpful in providing them some better speed control, like you were saying at the very beginning. Oh, amazing kill there by BB, able to get the pulse bomb onto the supports. How are they going to be able to convert this into a fight victory? They've lost a couple of their members. They're trying to focus down the tank, but I just don't think it's enough. Sure, they got the nano onto Monkey, but he's all by himself with no one to help them.
Oh, the cast whiffs the shots, doesn't quite manage to get the kill onto Blizzard, and absolute that nano came in clutch. YS's approach, MRG's approach there was really smart, having the Winston go in first, but it wasn't going to be enough. YS able to clamp down and just have an iron grip. That, I mean, the Lifeweaver Cup really working well here because they're able to play second, they're able to respond to what their opponents do with really good utility. That Lifeweaver platform able to put you between the divers and the pull, giving invulnerability and able to pull someone out of a deadly situation.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, though, YS Siege, I've got plenty of ultimates online, so I don't think you're going to be finding too many safe kind of little situations like that, like you were mentioning. Ultimate comes online, focusing down this Muggy who's jumped in.
Oh my
The rest
gosh.
of YS Siege
There's people
find their
dying left and
kills.
right, but MRG die more.
Yeah, absolutely. Then I'm having to head back all the way back to spawn, and with 40 seconds remaining, there's not too much remaining. I mean, you've already seen the Widow switching off there onto the Cassidy, and I think this is a reasonable decision, but you're going to be playing it a little bit differently, and you're going to have to adapt to this slightly different way of playing. You've got slightly different utils, slightly different options available to you, and so you're going to be playing a little bit closer. You're not trying to go for the same kind of win conditions that you would with a Widowmaker.
Oh no. The dive under the backline of YS Siege, but it's matched with the Ravenous Vortex just holding and delaying. There's only 6 seconds left on the clock, but with Overwhelm dead, are they going to be able to push? Are they going to be able to hold? They're clearly giving up a lot of space. I'm not sure if they're even going to try and hold. The Tourbillon's really interesting, but really good against Poke, who is on Winston. Not going to be enough, though, because of the anti-heal from Anna, and that is going to be MRG Garnet. Having capped that first point, they now have 2 minutes 30 seconds to get to the next one. As they're pushing up, they're staggering as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, they really are. They're trying to chase this kill down here, this Tracer, but they are able to do enough at the very end, able to capture that point at the very last moment, giving themselves a little bit of an opportunity to try and equalize and maybe capture it all the way to the end, give themselves a little bit of extra hope in this series. I mean, if you are a MRG Garnet fan in chat, please do be celebrating, because this is your last chance here to be winning this particular series. This Ultimate's online. Nano comes out here already into the back line.
Yeah, now the Life Weaver tree coming out, but it's going to be completely countered by a really strong Nano or anti there. As, I mean, we see Panther just trying to find as much value as they can. Really get melted. That's a lot of forward momentum from MRG as they manage to clean up their opponents. And finally killing Matt at the end of that fight.
Oh, well, this is like an entirely different team. I feel like just picking up that Juno has just absolutely revolutionized the team. But I do feel like Juno is probably going to be quite a stronger character pick than Lucio in a lot of situations. So I'm a bit surprised they haven't been using it earlier. Although they have been doing great so far. They do have a couple of ultimates already. That Juno ultimate is going to give them so much damage potential in the upcoming fight if they choose to use it well. Mauga switch as well.
Mauga, oh gosh, that's toxic. But the hazard,
But I don't think it's going to matter.
able to roll him. Honestly, that was a
no.
genius setup. They knew exactly what they were doing there. And Overwhelm not pushing him more. They know their opponents have the luxury of that spawn room right up next to them. So they're just going to wait. And Mauga already back in the fight. That was about 15 seconds advantage for YS Siege. Mauga looking to, and the entire team of MRG Garnet looking to push through this side room. It's going to make them incredibly predictable as they get walled off from the Tracer, I believe? Oh, the Cassidy. And the Molten Core managing to get a kill, as well as Nafta Catboy, Patboy. Panther getting a kill onto Beta Blue at the end of that fight. Honestly, brilliant play. YS Siege have figured out what they need to be doing here. They figured out how to hold this last point, and it's going to be difficult to counter it, because you need to draw out that hazard wall, then immediately destroy it. That's your win condition. The turret on the ceiling.
I mean, what are you going to say? It's a beautiful placement, you know? It's hard to get to. He's going to be doing damage, chip damage. That's perfect. And you're also going to be, that turret's going to be shutting down that Tracer as well. It makes it really hard for the Tracer to really navigate and be nimble in the way that they're using it, because Tracer just has so little health. And Panther picking up a kill onto Baby, putting them a player down. I don't think they're going to be able to equalize what's just coming out online.
Wow, the swing back. I thought MRG had won that fight, and then just a really solid ult from Overwhelm, able to retake so well without a Kirisuzu, without enough mobility to counter out of it. It's so strong, it's so dominant, and we're going to see the turret back on that wall or ceiling.
We are seeing it back placed onto that ceiling. I mean, kind of to be expected, really. It's a difficult place, and you get so much value. I mean, just look at the range of the turret. It's already, you know, trying to have a little bit of chip at BB there. He has to use his recall already. Nano comes out as well already into this fight as ultimates come out left and right.
Yeah, absolutely. That window of opportunity managing to find one kill, I was pretty sure Overwhelm was dead, but evidently not. Avalanche having swapped from Widowmaker to Ashe now, trying to find value, trying to find some headshots, trying to find some damage onto Overwhelm. But it's not going to be enough. They've figured out how to hold this point so reliably, so consistently, as they all get walled off from the Malga now. They need to touch, they need to hold, and the Immortality Field coming out, managing to do a little bit, managing to save it, but that's a 40-second, 30-second cooldown. That's not going to be recoverable in any reasonable length of time, as YSC have won the match overall. That is going to put them in at 1-0, and MRG at losing one match. That was dominant.
It really was dominant there by YSC. I mean, I'm actually a Garnet though. You can't be putting them out, right? Just because they lost a lot of team fights and they were struggling in a few situations. It doesn't mean that they weren't doing a good job. They still got good victories. You know, the Widowmaker was doing an amazing job getting some really crucial kills. Beautiful, beautiful work. And they also had some other great moments as well of great coordination, barreling in, using those ultimates when they needed to, picking up those kills. But unfortunately, I feel like YS Siege just did a little bit of a better job overall in those kind of situations, eking out those victories, being just a little bit better positioned, and those choke points. Oh, it was like the bane. It was like the Achilles heel almost of MRG Garnet. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
that last point on Circuit Royale, I mean, they just really struggled
yeah,
getting through those doors. Sorry, on the second point as well, second map of Hollywood, again, getting through that archway on the first point, they really, really struggled. And we saw it
yeah,
even hinted at as well on the first map, all the way back at
yeah,
Control.
yeah.
I mean,
Gosh. And I mean, Control's like one of the most back and forth modes. But that was really well played by MRG there. And YS Siege, I hope they hold their heads up high because they put up a respectable effort. They
absolutely,
really experimented. They really
absolutely.
tried to figure out what would work. And they found ways to start winning. They found ways to start competing at an optimal level. And I know if they, I know they're going to go far in this tournament, as we're still in the Swiss stage. We have 22 teams total, and it's really exciting. Here we see some of the stats, I believe, from that last game overall between the two teams. And I mean, you look at the difference in kills. YS Siege having 25 average eliminations, and MRG only having 10.
Yeah, I mean, rarely do the stats tell the full story, but I think this time it kind of does, unfortunately, for MRG Garnet. I mean, YS Siege there, it really shows just how dominant they were in a lot of those team fights. But yet, MRG Garnet was still able to, get their little pinky toes in the door in a number of situations and bring out those victories. I feel like MRG Garnet were working so well as a team overall, and yet they just really struggled, unfortunately, in a few situations, which just meant that that YS Siege just could come in barreling in, get those 6Ks, and you just end up with like tremendous and really impressive stats overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there were some incredible plays, incredible, brilliant decisions there from both teams. I mean, that Genji in some of the earlier matches was really fun to watch. It was exhilarating just seeing how well a mechanically skilled player can, or how far a mechanically skilled player can go off their own steam, how much they can bring value to a team and into a fight. Um, I mean, I believe we're about to find out who were the MVPs for this matchup.
Between these two teams, I mean, there are so many different options to be
Uh,
choosing. I mean, you've got the tank who was doing an amazing job. You got the DPS who were just being
yeah,
incredibly aggressive. I mean, that venture first map on Oasis was amazing. Really able to shut down the team and just prevent them from going around and executing their game plan. And just being able to do that alone, even if you're not necessarily top killing, is already very impressive. I mean, there are plenty of other choices as well, not just
yeah,
that, but also the supports as well, keeping the team alive. I
Was it
I
Overwhelm
think
who
I
was
think
playing
I've got my
Hazard?
pick.
Was it Overwhelm who was playing Hazard that second game? Or
Uh,
that last game?
I believe Overwhelm is the tank.
Yeah, yeah. Overwhelm was brilliant there for my money. They were able to hold objectives and points and angles so well. But I mean, I, I think it's Overwhelm and Bibby for me for my money. But I mean, it's personal opinion to an extent.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I think Bibi did do an excellent job on their side of that for their team, but I have to agree with Overwhelm on that is going for the MVP of the match. I mean, just see that 62
Yeah,
eliminations. Like, what the heck is that? That is absolutely ridiculous.
nine final
11,000
blows and
damage.
9 final blows and 3 final deaths
Hmm.
per 10 minutes. That's you're for every 3 times you're dying, or for every time you're dying, you're getting 3 kills. You are absolutely just slaughtering the competition at that point. It's not even close to being fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're practically getting one kill every minute. It's not even. It's I mean, just look at this, right? The overwhelm statistics here of 9.6 is just massively above the tank. But that's not to say that the tank of Poke was not doing a great job either. I think they were doing an excellent job with their team. They were playing that Winston really well. They're certainly a player that I would like to see in my ranked games on my team, because if I did, I think I would have a very good chance of winning my ranked games, maybe even ranking up from my current rank. But Overwhelmed though was just I'm sorry, I got to go for it, but it was absolutely overwhelming in their tank position, and I think they did a great job of overwhelming the enemy positions and keeping those choke points and absolutely making sure that nobody was getting past them. And they did an excellent job of that. And I'm not going to do it a third time, but it is beautiful to see those skills on display. Obviously, everyone else in the team as well has got to have a big
Yes,
shout out as well. In my opinion, I think they all did
absolutely.
well. It's always a team effort in these games, and one player can rarely take it all.
Yeah, massive shout out to our production team, Ebroth on main production, then Ember and Screeper as observers. But I believe that is us for the day. That is the first live streamed match of Crown Cup Season 3 Challenger Division. We still have the entire Swiss stage to go, then some semi finals and finals coming up. So be sure to stay tuned, be watching your notifications on Crown Cup Esports, because it's going to be a brilliant tournament, I believe, if that match was anything to go by. I've been Zeus, this has been Yaffa, and I hope no babies eat your dingoes.
Oh, and also follow